process. And go to page 415 in the book. On page 415 in your book, it talks about the ADA model.
What model?
The ADA, A-I-D-A.
Yes.
Wait, I forget the word.
Oh, yeah, you can expand the acronym.
Yeah, we're gonna go over that.
Is it done?
Yes, it says. It doesn't say? Sure it does.
There you go.
So, these are what you call, the tasks of promotion, or the ADA model. So, it says, having defined the desired order of response, to communicate then turns to developing an effective message. Ideally, the message should get attention, hold interest, arouse desire, and obtain action. I think that's what the ADA model is. So, we call this ADA model the tasks of promotion. And again, promotion being advertising, personal selling, publicity, direct marketing, public relations. So, the first task of promotion is to get attention. So you have to get a person's attention. So, if it's a commercial, what's the most important part of the commercial?
Product.
No, what, if it's a 30-second commercial, what is it, the beginning, the middle, or the end?
Yeah.
No, it's the beginning. They say in research that if you don't get a person's attention the first 3 seconds, they don't see it. So, you have to get a person, that's why I told you creativity is key here. If it's not a creative message, nobody sees it, nobody remembers it, but if it's too creative, then they don't remember the product. So, if you're a commercial, what we call the first 3 seconds or the first frame, that's gotta get your attention or you don't see the next 27 seconds. What gets your attention in most magazine ads? What gets your attention, not B2B, but most magazine ads, what may get your attention? The visual, yeah, the photo, the visuals. The visuals, and sometimes the headline gets your attention, right? Sometimes the headline, the headline can be, by the way, in the bottom, it doesn't have to be on top. Sometimes, so, the headline can get your attention, the bottom line, but something's gotta get your attention, it's either the headline or the visual. The body copy's not gonna get your attention. So, what gets your attention on a billboard?
The image?
Yeah, the image, the visual, that's the whole key. A good billboard should have a visual in 6 words, 8 words max.
Should be simple, right?
Yeah, it should be very simple. You see all these billboards with websites and phone numbers, nobody's gonna write down when you're driving, it's a total
Because
waste.
Apple has, their billboards are so simple. It's just the product, the name, and that's it.
That's it, well, that's what a billboard should have. The billboard should have no more than 8 words. So if you see billboards with more than that, it has all these different things on them, phone numbers and websites, it's just ridiculous, nobody's reading them. Nobody has time to read them. That visual's gotta make you look at it, maybe read those 6 words, and those words gotta correspond back to that visual. That makes a good billboard. If you look at billboards, even the electronic ones, some of them are just, they can't be any recall because it's just too much stuff there. Someone's not gonna have no recall. So, what makes you delete or open an email up?
The subject?
Yeah, the subject's gotta be, first of all, it's gotta be, again, if you're familiar with the company, then you're probably gonna open it. And that means they have your database, and if you're not familiar with it, then you may not open it. It's gotta be something that, friend or something that's gonna make you wanna open it. So, again, there's various things, you have to get a person's attention, or they never see the message. You either delete it or you conceptually distorted or don't see it. So the first task of promotion, or the first step in the ADA model is getting attention. It's getting, that's without that, nothing happens. We understand that. You have to get attention. So that's the only way you become aware of a company's products or services. You gotta get their attention, and you gotta get it quickly. Well, once you get their attention, if that doesn't happen, I told you, I got a commercial, it's over. You're not gonna see the next 27 seconds. You gotta hold interest, that's the I. What does that mean, hold interest? That now, the first 3 seconds got their attention if we're talking TV, and now you gotta hold their interest. The next 27 seconds is gotta feel important to the target audience. So you gotta read the copy. You gotta see the next 27 seconds. That's extremely important. So without that, nothing happens. What time you got? 8 what? 17? It's only 8:30, you know. Hit this in the thing when I don't wear a watch.
His clock's probably broken.
Is it? Yeah, I think 45. So you gotta hold the interest, which means like if the print ad, the visual gets your attention, headline gets your attention, you gotta read the body copy. If that visual gets your attention on the billboard, you gotta see it. That headline, that subject matter of the email, you gotta open it up. So it's gotta hold your interest. It's gotta hold your interest. And then the next thing is arouse desire. So the D is desire. So you gotta arouse. So now, if you got a person's attention and they saw whatever message that you were sending, maybe, just maybe, you would hope that there would be some type of preference for your brand. So now you're gonna arouse desire, and the desire is because if they saw it and they're the right target audience and they don't have any internal noise right now, then maybe, just maybe, they will preference your brand or your service. And so this is the way you hope it happens. And if you arouse desire, the next step is action. Which means whatever the objective was, you go out and buy the product, go to the website, get a good image, whatever the objective was. So it may lead, the action may lead to a purchase of the product or service, or a decision. And that's what this ADA model is all about, or the test of promotion, that you gotta get a person's attention, you gotta hold their interest, you gotta, hopefully, after you hold their interest, they have some type of brand preference, that's desire. After some type of brand preference, it may lead to a purchase or a decision. And that's where we come up to this word frequency. Continuous promotion. Or frequency. Frequency means hitting them over the head, that's continuous promotion. Is what makes you stay loyal to a brand or breaks through the cluster to get this desire. So continuous advertising confirms the decision to encourage action. So what does that mean, that it encourages action? So if McDonald's decided to stop advertising for 6 months, they spend, I don't know, $800 million on advertising. So they say, gee, we stop advertising for 6 months, that's a savings of $400 million. We have a 34% share, Wendy's has a 12%, Burger King has a 12%, we have triple their share, both of them combined only for our share. Our Rockers are the most famous, in the top 5 in terms of symbols, Swish being number 1. they got the best locations. So they go and say, because of the location, because of the arches, because of our name, because of our market share, we won't spend any money on advertising. The chief marketing officer says we'll just stop advertising for 6 months. So if they're at 34% share, will they hold their share, will they grow, or will they decline? No advertising for 6 months, they pull $400 million, goes right to the bottom line. Will they lose market share, or will they not, because the brand is so strong?
I don't think they'll decline, and if they do, it won't be that much.
How much is not much?
Well, I don't know, I'm not in the industry really.
Oh, well, they own 34% share,
Wait, is 2% not much, or is that a lot? That's what I'm trying to say.
that's enormous.
It's enormous, right? So, exactly, I
Because
don't know.
because the potential is enormous, you understand,
Yeah.
we're in the billions,
Well,
so 2% share
it's
is
huge.
enormous.
So.
So if they drop to 34 to 32% share,
That's
that's
huge.
that's a huge drop.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, even a strong brand like McDonald's, he's right, out of sight, out of mind. Continuous promotion, continuous advertising makes you stay in the ballpark. If I was Burger King or Wendy's and McDonald's ever decided to do something stupid like that, I would triple my budget. I would create triple my noise. And this would be the chance of a lifetime to take market share away. So, they're not disappearing, McDonald's, but if they lose 3 or 4% market share, or 2 or 3%,
That means
that's
Wendy's.
billions of dollars of sales. And that's gonna be offset, the $400 million sure goes right to the bottom line. But they may never get back that market share again. Because you gave your competitors a chance, what we call an aperture, it's like the best time that you can grow, a chance to grow. So that would be a disaster for them. The point I'm trying to get to is that even the strongest brands, if they don't advertise, and advertising, remember, is all encompassing, I mean, you know, any form of communication. If they don't advertise, they will lose market share. People do forget. And in McDonald's case, a 2 or 3% share, it could be millions of dollars of sales. Go from 34 to 31, 3% share, the chief marketing officer will be fired, like before those 6 months is over. Because they will be seeing their market share drop. And though it sounds like a very small drop, 3 points, that is a huge drop because the market potential is so big.
You said CMOs switch like every 3 years, right?
Yeah, well, they don't last as long as they would.
Would that be the same in like a big industry like that?
Sure. McDonald's losing market share, they would never make a mistake like that, but McDonald's losing market share, somebody's gotta get blamed. They're gonna blame the chief marketing officer.
Well, why is that, for different insight or?
Because the chief marketing officer is responsible for the short and long-term growth of McDonald's.
No, but I'm saying, why the constant firing of the CMO?
Because who else are they gonna blame? The CEO's not gonna fire himself. He's gonna go to the board of directors and say, fire the CMO. That's the easiest way to keep your job. You blame it on the CMO. By the way, it is her responsibility to grow the brand. And if the CMO of McDonald's, if they're losing market share, they will get fired. The CEO may survive. If it gets really bad, the board of directors will fire the CEO, will fire the president. Before the president gets fired, I guarantee he fires the CMO to save his job, or her job. That's the way it goes. Somebody has to be held accountable, and the CMO is accountable for all the marketing actions of that company. You're not going to bring the CFO or the CIO. You're going to blame the CMO because that's his job or her job to move the company forward. It's a very volatile position because you just cannot show growth after growth after growth after growth in most industries. Sooner or later you flatten out. It's just impossible. It's just impossible. So when you flatten, if you're in the wrong time, when it flattens out, you're going to be blamed. It's in any sport, you know.
Do you think McDonald's is flat right now?
Yeah, they had a couple bad quarters. They're making money, but they had a couple bad quarters. Same store sales were either the same or a little off. That's a disaster for McDonald's.
How long have they had that CMO right now, do you know?
No, but the bottom line is that, in my opinion, if same store sales are not up over last year, that person's job's in jeopardy after a couple of years, because he's gotta come up, or she's gotta come up with a strategy to move the company forward. An unacceptable flat growth. It's unacceptable. In a very mature business, you know, that's tough. If you showed a 5% increase in McDonald's sales for a year, you have to show that 5%, another 5%, I'm telling you, that's tough. Especially if you're not opening up stores that, you know, at the clip they are, and they aren't. The growth is not in the United States for McDonald's, the growth is international.
They have problems in
China,
China.
huh?
They have problems in China.
I know, they had problems in China, but that's where the growth is. They're saturated in the United States. So they gotta go international.
What was the problems, like culture
They got
shock
bad
almost?
meat.
Yeah, right?
But that's not that, it was culture problems, not, you gotta market to that country. And, you know, they make mistakes just like anybody else. So, they did a big switch when they got all the problems with meat, they went to water and they went to salads, and that was a big change, and that was a big plus for them. You know, where are they going now? It's, you know, they gotta come up with new products, and it's very difficult to do that. So, and they gotta maintain that kids market, because that's where their real strength is. Yeah.
The company would just to keep growing and growing and growing, right? McDonald's just say 5%, 5%, 5%, after a while, they'd have to like, it'd be like a monopoly, right?
No, not really, because if the market's growing 5%, they're grabbing most of the growth. They grow 5% every year, they wouldn't even be happy with that.
Oh, so that's.
Really?
But that's in relation to the total market.
The total market, you gotta look at the total market, remember I told you, you gotta look at the total market, and what your share of the total market is. It's not that you're internally, you gotta look how much the market's growing.
That 5% includes the total market and their share?
No, it's their share, no, nothing to do with market, if their sales go up 5%, that doesn't mean their market share goes up 5%, absolutely not. The market's going up 5%, they gain no market share. The total fast food business goes up 5%, and they went up 5%, they just keep it even.
So you gotta keep them, those two numbers separate.
Yeah, those two numbers are separate, there's two things you look at, your internal sales and where do you stand in terms of market share. When I was in the business, everything was market share, we used to have Nielsen's every 2 months, and we lost a share point, it was a bad day, you know, it was a bad day in marketing, 1 share point. I used to say, it's only 1 share point, and I learned very quickly, that was bad news. That was bad news, a share point loss. Because, you know, that, usually when you lose share, you don't see it in your sales right away, then as you begin to lose share, then you begin to see it in your factory shipments and your sales, and that's usually comes second. So your loss in market share on the consumer level, sometimes you don't see it until a couple months later on your shipments, on your sales, so you've got a problem. And sooner or later, your sales will go down. You know, it's usually an after effect, you know.
Can't sales go up and market share go down at the same time, right?
Technically, yes. Sales can go up and market share can go down. That's usually not a good thing.
Yeah.
Usually
How does
not
that
a good
work?
thing. Very simple, you promote, you're giving away the business, you're running sales, and sales are going up and your market share is going down, you know, it's, you're turning in profitable sales, or the market's growing at a bigger pace than what your sales are going up.
It's like you're selling, but you're not growing.
Yeah, so you gotta, that's why I'm saying, you gotta look at 2 numbers, you gotta look at the market potential, and you gotta look at your sales. And, you know, when you have stock, your shareholders have no mercy. They want the stock to go up, they want dividends to go up. And that's why there's tremendous pressure on the chief marketing officer to deliver. You know, if you're a privately held company, that you don't have to answer these people, you gotta answer whoever owns the company. But if you're trading the stock market, you gotta report your sales and earnings every quarter. There's no hiding them. So every quarter, you know, then if you can have great quarters, and if you don't meet the expectations of what they thought you were gonna get, you're in trouble. Even though you had a great quarter. It's a very weird situation. The bottom line is that you gotta grow. You gotta grow, like I told you, through new products or acquisitions and mergers, and your core base gotta move. It's gotta move up, and as it flattens, you gotta have new things to replace it. And that's why the CMO is always up against the wall. He or she's up against the wall, yeah.
Growth is always primarily related to the marketing department of an
Yeah,
organization.
absolutely. That's where it's
The
at.
only way to grow is to have a really strong marketing.
No, you gotta have strong products, the marketing department can only do only so much, you can't do it
Yeah.
with mirrors. I mean, you got, sometimes you get lucky, you know, things happen to go right, but if your products are, you know, not up technologically, you're gonna decline, I don't care how good a marketer you are. You can only do mirrors and puffery so much, sooner or later, it catches up to you. You have to be up on technology, and you gotta have new products, and you gotta market your existing products aggressively. And that totality gotta show you increases, or you will. By the way, these CMOs that get fired, they always get another job. Don't worry about them, they always get another job. They're always looking for that type of broad management experience. So, you get fired 4 times and still get another job. Really? Well, the small guy, the middle-sized guy, he gets fired, he has a problem with marketing. Yeah, no, I'm just saying, but, plus this is a young market, if you're a middle-aged marketing manager, you're 40, 45, and you get fired, you're in trouble. You're in trouble, because this is it's becoming a very young business. So you're gonna be out of work for a while. Yeah.
Where can you research market potential for an industry?
You can go to any of the trade journals, you can go to the company and say if they have a 12% share, you can just factor it up. There's many ways, many trade journals have what the market potentials are.
They're not free, right? Trade journals?
Trade journals, if you're in the business, usually you may get them free because you're part of the business, or you pay. You need, any way you do it, you gotta get it.
Yeah.
You have to get the trade journals. But there isn't enough data around, if you look and really search and you go to the key companies and you're just trying to get something, you can say, well, this guy has a 12%, this guy has a 15%, and they show that in their annual reports or in the financials, you can almost factor up what the market potential is. So it's not that difficult to get it. And these trade journals or outside research areas, which you can buy that research fairly cheaply, you can come up with the market potentials. If you're in the business, you know the market potentials. You know what you have to do, you know, whatever category you're in, you know, you gotta know your numbers inside out. It's a numbers game. You gotta be real smart with the numbers. So everything is numbers. It's how you make the numbers. So it's, needs to memorize these numbers, you know, they know numbers inside out. If somebody said, what's your share in it, what's this, what's that, boom, I knew it, you know. You have to, so you're gonna look like an idiot.
Does this all work for marketing an individual person as well?
What?
All these, like marketing an individual instead of a business, or is this just for business?
What do you mean, sorry?
Like if I want to market, say myself,
Yeah,
does this all work
what
for?
are you marketing?
No, I'm just saying, like, does this work for someone who's marketing themselves?
Sure, you gotta, when you get a job, you gotta market yourself, that's why your resume's gotta be good, you gotta have things to say, you gotta have talking points. You get a job, you're marketing yourself. You're marketing yourself versus other people applying for that same position. That's where that piece of paper, you gotta have internships, you gotta have something on it, you gotta have something to say. Nothing to say, and you're on the bottom of the barrel. You don't even get an interview because these companies that are large, they all use software programs now. You don't have the keywords on them. The human being doesn't even see it. So if you don't have an internship on your resume, you're a college graduate, I don't think your resume even gets pulled. If you're a large company, you're going through that. You're not even gonna get a person to look at that resume for a minute. That's the way it is. Yeah, you gotta market yourself. Absolutely. You can't market yourself.
It works like this though?
Huh?
It works the same way as,
Well, it's not the same way, but you gotta market yourself, you gotta say why a company should hire you. And then your resume, once you get experience, that's marketing yourself. The more experience you have, the more money you make, the more you're gonna move up the chain of command. It's as simple as that, and that resume and what you've done, market yourself.
If you work for a really well-known company,
Yeah.
and you move up in that company rather than going for interns, is that?
Well, if you work for a very well-known company and it's well respected in the industry and you move up, then that's fine. And that will parlay to any internship because that's more important.
I feel that experience is more important than,
Yeah,
intern.
experience in the field.
Yeah.
Experience with a part-time job or working for a big company doesn't relate to your field. It's not gonna help you as much as you think.
So my company offers to go out to work for them in different departments of marketing and finance and all these different things.
Well,
It's not,
if it's a big no-name company, it can help you dramatically. That's why, in my opinion, students should try to get their first job in a big company that's hopefully traded on the stock market, because that's a calling card to get other jobs, because they see that you had a couple of years' experience in a big firm, and then any other firm, small, medium, or large, wants to hire you. So you should try to get a job in a very known company in the industry, because from there, after 2 or 3 years, you're very marketable anywhere, small, medium, or large. If you go and get a job in a very small company, and you work there 2 or 3 years, now your knowledge base may be just as much or more than somebody else, but you're more involved. But the bottom line, now, a large company may not see it that way, because they don't think you have big corporate experience. So they may not view that as anywhere near working for a large company. So I always say you try to find a large company to work for first in the business. From there, you have any opportunity to go small, medium, or large. That's key, you know. It's very tough to go from a very small company to a large company. You may say, I have entrepreneurial spirit, I've done this, I've done that. They want to see corporate experience. You go to a large company, and you want to go to a small, that small company wants to hire you because you're bringing all that experience from that big company, or medium, or another large company, because it's compatible. So you always shoot for a large company. It's a company that's known, whatever you want to be in, whether you're an accountant, whether you're marketing, whatever it is. You'd much rather go into a large firm that's known in the industry, because you could then have a calling card. You are able to market yourself. And marketing is critical. You got to get in. You got to get in with a good company. You know, any marketing person gets a job with P&G. They in brand marketing. You now, in my opinion, are on the track to success, because any consumer product company, they love if you work for Procter & Gamble, because you've worked with the best, and they love that. So you are so marketable in the industry, you know, in the consumer product industry. So, you know, it's who you work for. Is it easy to get a job with P&G? No, it's not easy. Is it possible? Yeah, it's possible. And that's how it works. That's how it works. It's, marketing is a tough business. It's an exciting, fun business, but boy, it is tough. It is tough. You've got to deliver if you're in brand work, you know. Like I said, there's so many jobs in marketing, whether it's research, logistics. Those are your little niche, you know. They may get you to brand work. But if you go into brand work, that's your job, is to grow that brand. And then as you move up, to grow more brands, and then you become a CMO, is to grow all the brands, or all the services. You make good money, you know. Marketing salaries have skyrocketed. CMOs make good money. Especially if you're a CMO with a big firm. You make good money. Marketing salaries were never that high. When I was in the business, they didn't pay marketing that high. They really didn't. Marketing was always considered that. We need you, but we're not going to pay you. Today, marketing salaries have skyrocketed. If you're in brand marketing, just skyrocketed. It's a little different ballgame. Yeah.
I'm just curious, how much do you usually, like, how much do you average, like, a year in Revlon? I'm sorry if you don't want to say it.
I don't know what to say. Let's just say I was managing director of color cosmetics, and so I was in charge of looking nails. At that time, that was almost $1 billion worth of business. So they had to pay me for that. I had 13 years experience.
Was it like a 7-figure kind of thing?
No, it wasn't. They didn't pay 7 figures for that time. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It could have been a 6-figure thing. Absolutely.
Like an easy 6 figures.
I'm not gonna get into it, but the bottom line is that way back when I made much more money than I'm making now. Much more money than as a full-timer, okay? Much more money. much
That
more
sounds
money.
like
Like, it's not compatible.
Alright.
How many years did they have you in that, one spot?
Well, I only was there 2 years because I got that job as executive vice president.
Oh, there you go.
I jumped 40,000. It was a smaller company, but they wanted my experience, you know. So I jumped, plus the company car.
And the work was easier?
No,
No?
of course it wasn't. They bled me in that fourth term. They bled me. You kidding me? They wanted results, and they didn't want to invest to get results. And I wasn't a magician. You understand? I told the officers privately, I'm not a magician. You gotta give me the money, and I'll make you grow. You don't give me the resources. How am I gonna move your company forward? I had a tough time understanding that.
How's that company doing now?
They sold the company, it was a profitable company, they sold.
You called it quits at that?
Guess when I called it quits after that job, yeah. No, I didn't call it quits, I went on my own. After that experience.
So you opened up your own company,
Yeah. Yeah, it was in marketing and sales.
That's
Sales, I knew a lot about sales.
How long was that going on for?
Oh, wow.
Why'd you stop? What'd you do with it?
I made money.
I'm sorry.
I made money, what do you think I did? I
No, but I mean, like, is the business like still, you know, you started like, you know, like an entrepreneurship kind of business?
It wasn't entrepreneurship, I knew the context of the business, and I basically was a marketing and management consultant firm. I was the president and CEO.
But you left the business open, right? Like,
No, but I knew everybody in the business, so that's how I got projects.
And
I got projects because I knew everybody in the business. No, I wouldn't say I retired, but I had the best there was. I knew the best art directors, the best copywriters, the best research people. I knew the best in the business, so when I presented a proposal, a bid on a job, when we presented, I brought these great people in with me, and they were the best in the business. So when I presented, I was as good as anybody, any Harvard consulting firm, MBA consulting firm in the business, because I had these great people who worked in the business, who knew the business, and I brought those specialists in with me to make the presentations. So if they wanted somebody who knew the business, and myself and these great people, they would hire me, and I would always be considered for the job, because they couldn't get this type of experience, and they didn't want to pay me the high amount that I bid on the job. I didn't take the job. I learned very quickly, you do not take jobs unless they pay you a considerable amount, because I have to pay the overhead. I gotta pay these great people good money, and you gotta figure that into the bid. So they said to me, gee, you're charging as much as the most prestigious consulting marketing firm there is. And I would say, I sure am. And who do you want to take, me, or you want to take some people who just graduated from Harvard who don't know a damn thing about marketing? And they ended up, and the small ones picked me. I'm truthful. Yeah, I'm just being honest with you. I did very well in that, yes, for a while.
like, what got you to call that quits? Like,
Tired,
Tired.
tired, tired.
too stressful, I guess, after a while?
No, I was teaching part-time. I started teaching at Baruch and the Colliarnas for 8 years. And I got a full-time spot in there, and that's when I was starting to wind down.
And I agree with accept the rest of your life.
Don't worry about what I'm saying. You worry about yourself. Don't worry about what I'm saying. It doesn't matter if I'm saying. You gotta worry about yourself.
Yeah.
You gotta worry about yourself. Let's put it this way, I'm not a billionaire, but I never have to worry about money.
Yeah.
It's a big difference.
Still see this.
No, that's the big difference. There's people who are rich and I'm set, but I'm not rich.
Yeah, see, you said that, yeah.
No, but I'm not rich, that's a big difference. You'd be surprised, I go to Lake Town and it houses itself for $5 million. Now, I can't go and pay $5 million on a house in Lake Town. You understand?
Yeah, you're not gonna have everything in the world.
No, but I'm saying there's difference between having money and having money.
And you're living comfortably.
Yes. Very Not even the point, but you understand? If I want something, I can't go buy that house in Lake Tahoe for $5 million on the lake. That's my favorite spot in the whole country.
Yeah.
I can't put $5 million. I don't have that. Let's put it this way, I'd be pushed against the wall to go and buy that. I'd be living on hamburger helpers then. You know what I'm saying? So it's all relevant.
No.
It's relevant. You know, these sports guys make, $15, $20 million a year for
I
playing
wasn't
baseball.
expecting you to say like your best friends with
So,
Bill Gates. But
no, I don't. My career's over, worry about your career, I am no longer, I no longer hustle anymore. I don't wanna hustle anymore, I'm no longer hustling, I've had people ask me, and I don't wanna hustle, I turn them down, first of all, I'm not supposed to. Because you're bound by contract with CUNY, you're not supposed to spend more than one day outside, so you gotta sign this thing every semester. So I'm sort of bound by CUNY, that I'm not allowed to do anything. People do, but you know, that's the bottom line. So I'm bound by
Side
CUNY.
projects and stuff like that?
No, you're supposed to only, the maximum you can spend is 1 day a week on additional income, and you gotta specify it, it's a whole bureaucratic nonsense. So, I don't wanna go through that, it's just a pain in the neck, it ain't worth it for me, you know, at this stage. So, I had a shot about 7 years ago, 7 years ago. My friend, who I worked for, he got a job, no mention, no names, in this big company, as, they didn't call him a CMO, but anyway, he got a job as the #1 marketing person, executive vice president. Most companies now use CMOs, that's the name. He got a job there, and they're paying him very big money. So he asked me to go down and, he asked me to interview. They were looking for, you know, a senior vice president of marketing and sales. So he kept bugging me. I told him, because this guy was a workaholic. And I told him, I'm not gonna be a workaholic. I said, you're a workaholic. And I don't wanna be a workaholic anymore. I'm finished those type of hours. He says, don't worry, I'm in charge, you're in charge, we get along, but he gets a problem if you don't work up to his standard. If you don't work at his pace, he has a problem with people. So I told him, you have a problem with people. People can't keep up with you, you know? I said, because that's why I'm bringing you in, so you can, I said, I don't wanna keep up with you. Truthfully, and so I went for the interview, and you know, with the, it was a global firm, and went for the interview, and I wasn't even trying, to tell you the truth. I wasn't even trying, I swear to God. And sure, you know, sure as hell, they offered me some fantastic money. And I thought about it, and I said, do I want to do this again at this stage of my life? And I turned them down. My friend never forgave me. You know, I've known this guy for 30 years, and he stopped talking with me. I told him I got to make my own
You haven't spoken
decisions.
since?
No, I called him a few times, the guy doesn't want to know me. So, and by the way, like 3 or 4 years later, he got fired. But that's what he said. He said, we'll run him out for 3 or 4 years. 3 or 4 years, you'll make us a lot of money. And, you know, if we do well, we can stick on and you can go. But I told him, I don't want to work that hard. And it would have been because it was sales too. They had a big sales force in that. And that's like a lot of travel again, and it's both. I don't have, you know, a VP of marketing, a VP of sales reporting in, but it was just too much work. I said, this is an enormous job.
So you were on the planes left and right though?
Huh?
Well,
I did turn them down after a while. I thought about it.
No, I mean like in the prime though, like you were going on like planes left and right like
Oh,
that?
yeah, absolutely. I travel a lot. I've traveled a lot.
Out of country?
Huh?
Out of country?
No, I based in the United States. I used to do some work in Puerto Rico in the Virgin Islands. So that would sound like fun, but it was so damn hot working there. I mean, it wasn't as much fun as you'd think.
It's just exhausting.
It was very, very tiresome, because I used to go out with the people out there and come up with the marketing plans, and it wasn't as much fun as you think it was. Going to Puerto Rico Puerto Rico's great, don't get me wrong, going there to work in that heat, with a suit and tie on. That was in the Virgin Islands, so, anyway, don't worry about me, don't worry about you, don't worry about yourself, my career's over.
I just said I'm curious.
No, and I'm a little different than most of the teachers here, because I'm the only one who has, 20 years corporate experience as a full-time faculty. But the bottom line is that, you gotta worry about yourself, you gotta decide what you want in life, and you gotta make it happen. There's an old saying, your first time out when you graduate is the most important year of your life, because you establish where you're gonna go from there, and how well you're gonna do, so you gotta get in there and you gotta do real well in your first job, because that sort of sets the pace.
I'm definitely taking a piss then.
No, I'm just saying, and so, I got lucky, I got in with a hot company for 8 years, and I learned the business. I got very lucky, I got, like I mentioned in the first question, a student in graduate school got me the job. He got me the job, he liked me, and he got me a job in finance. Then I moved into marketing, I got very lucky, I got into a hot company, They were a hot company. Everything they did was, everything they touched was gaining market share. So you get lucky. I got lucky. That's why I was always indebted to that guy. You know, I owed him so much because he gave me a shot. And, you know, and when I went for NYU for an advanced degree above an MBA, I knew the people and they paid for me. They never would pay above an MBA. I trudged back 3-4 stops on the train for 3:45 Park. I went to NYU for 3.5 years at night. Whew, was that tough? That was tough. I wanted to do it for ego too. I wanted to go to NYU and see how they do. So,
Try to cover all that stuff.
yeah, no, so, you know, but they paid for that. That was a lot of money. NYU was extremely expensive, and they weren't supposed to pay for it. The president liked me. He says, oh, we'll pay. So they made an exception. So they only paid up to graduate school. So, you know, I got lucky. Got in the right company at the right time. The company was growing leaps and bounds. Every product we touched was just, you know, #1 shampoo, #1 conditioner, #1 hair color. You name it, we were #1. We controlled the marketplace. So that's what made me marketable, because when you're marketable and you work for a hot company,
Oh, yeah.
companies want you. Companies call you. You don't have to call companies. I had so many companies calling me, you know, for jobs, you know, wanting me head on this phone. Because I was at a hot company. And you got lucky. I got lucky. I got very lucky. I owe that guy, his name is Frank Lopes. He passed away 3 years ago. But I owed him, and I kept in touch with him all that time. He was a nice guy. He was in finance. So I always told him, I owe you, Frank, you know. Very conservative guy. Frank was Puerto Rican Frank. And never met a guy so conservative. So we were almost direct opposite. I was pretty good. He was pretty conservative. You know, it was just an opposite in terms of personality. But somehow we hit it off, and he helped me. You know, so that's how you get lucky. But I got lucky. I admit it. I got lucky. It was in the right company at the right time. I got lucky getting the job. Absolutely lucky getting in there. Bristol Myers was flying at that time. We acquired Bristol Myers. They had Excedrin, they had Buffer, they had the pharmaceutical business was just flying. Everything in that, and it was a humanistic company. I played softball there for 8 years. I mean, I had a great time there. It was a party company. The company took care of every area. You know, we used to, we had all these other companies. We had Meade Johnson. They used to fly everybody in for the softball tournament at the end of the year. They used to fly Meade Johnson. They had all these other, everybody had a softball team. And that's how the president liked me, because I was always good in baseball and softball. The retail department never had a team. And so, you know, we were all white, you know, they never were in sports, but I put together a team that represented the retail department. And the president loved that, because the retail department never had a team to play against Meade Johnson, play against Zimmer and all these other companies. It was a big thing. The company flew whole teams in. We played at Stanford where that plant was. They had softball fields there. So the year we won it, that was like, the president was ecstatic. You know, and that's building up your own PR, by the way. That's marketing yourself. You know, and that's, you know, they used to have a newsletter, a picture, and he used to, he thought I was the greatest thing in the world, because the retail department, you know, won the tournament. And they paid for everything. We played other companies. We used to go and play, and then we used to come back to the bar and never paid a penny. The trolls used to pick up the bills. I technically could have had free lunches and free dinners every single day of the week if I wanted to. I didn't want to, but
You can't be that guy.
They don't have the Christmas parties or
well,
anything?
I know business has changed. That's what I'm saying. I know, it changed.
That's what I heard, I'm not that guy.
No, there's some companies that are humanistic, it depends on the firm. But some companies, you know, Claros lost his mojo when Procter & Gamble took them over. Not that they're not doing bad, but they sort of lost the spirit of the company.
You should get back right there with those employees, it's changed. The whole atmosphere changed.
It's a whole culture. Everything stems from the top. At that time, the top was good, and so it stemmed down. You know, if the company wasn't doing good, there wouldn't be that type of culture there. But we were doing good and they couldn't complain, because every single product was growing. I mean, I used to look at those numbers and was amazed at the growth rate of what we were doing. I used to tell this, the president, who was president of the company, his friend was president. These numbers, I said, I used to tell him, I don't know how long they're gonna last, because sooner or later we got flat. He used to look at me, I said, you know it as well as I know it. He says, we're going like this, and every brand's going up, and sooner or later. But when I was there, it almost never flat. I'm talking about 20%, 25% increases in sales. Huge increases. Holy shit. You know, really huge increases. That's why the company was so easy to work for. Because when you show numbers like that, that's when marketing is fun. That's when marketing is fun. There was a lot of parties, and I'm telling you, it was a party company. I don't know, I can sit here and tell you stories that I couldn't talk in this class, that there was, I got stories on top of stories on top of stories. Great stories.
Wall Street stories?
No, great stories. Great stories.
Wow, this is good.
No,
You're just
no,
getting good.
Marketing 111.
Clear was the only company I've really kept in touch with some of the guys who still work there. My friend is, I keep in touch with others, the woman who works in, she has her own company, I keep in touch with her. And the two other people I keep in touch with. Once in a while, this guy I could talk with, we could talk about some of the old things that happened in that company. They were mind-boggling.
You're right. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, right? Like, it's kind of starting to sound like the Wolf of Wall Street.
Don't forget, we were a top company with top models, you know, in the business.
You guys had all the opportunities in the world.
So you'll be surprised in that type of business, with that type of atmosphere, with that, it's a fun company.
Meetings for Virginia, like, it's almost like a
Fun company, it was fun, anyway. It's not what I do, it's what you do in life, everybody, because my days of pushing and those days are over. I'm winding down. Anyway, so we have, we gotta cover one more thing in chapter, we're not gonna do it tonight, but we gotta cover one more thing in chapter 14, which is, spending, setting the total promotion budget of mix, which is on page 418, 419. So we're gonna cover that, and then next class, we will start advertising. We will go over advertising, so you gotta bring a calculator in. What we're gonna do next class, I'm sure we're gonna get up to, we're gonna go over ratings and share of audience. Because that's what it's all about on TV show, what's the show's rating, what's the share of audience, because that determines the amount of money you get. So we'll probably do that math next class, and then if we get up to it, we will do cost per thousand. It's another math about quantitatively adjusting the magazine. So please read those 3 chapters on your course syllabus, and
We were talking about how they keep track of all that stuff, like how they keep track of like their viewers.
yeah, Nelson, everybody look at Nelson, yeah, we know all about that.